And joining us now is Jerry Falwell, Jr., president of Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. He joins us from his studio there. Mr. Falwell, thanks so much for joining us today.
Good to be with you.
You know, we are just all processing what has happened with the passing of Dr. Billy Graham. Please tell us your thoughts on his life and his legacy.
Well, it's a very sad day. The Christian faith has lost the best communicator of the gospel in the last century, in my opinion. He had a way of putting people at ease, of illuminating the gospel like nobody else could do. And for that reason, he ended up having the opportunity to share the gospel with hundreds of millions, if not billions, around the world. I remember when I was a child, there were only three TV stations, 3 networks. And when Billy Graham was having a crusade, all the network programming would be preempted for 3 or 4 nights, however long the crusade was. And it's, you know, a lot of young people don't remember that, but he was a household name like no other. And he, through his ministry, so many were converted. And my father was not converted through Billy Graham's ministry, but through someone who was converted through Billy Graham's ministry. And there's so many stories like that of people who were converted by someone who was converted by someone else who heard about the gospel through Billy Graham. But he just stuck to the simple gospel message that we're all sinners and we all need faith in Jesus Christ, and that was our hope, and that was the hope was eternal life, and that gave inspired so many people, and it made people. It gave them hope in life that they didn't otherwise have, and we've definitely lost a giant of the faith.
Yeah, I think there's a real sense of loss today. You know, it's interesting. I understand that your father and Billy Graham were friends. Do you have any memories, recall times when your father spoke of him?
Yes, they were friends. In fact, he spoke. Reverend Graham spoke at Liberty's commencement in 1997 when his oldest grandson graduated from Liberty. Franklin Graham's son, Will, who's now an evangelist, and all of Franklin's four children went to Liberty in the 90s, and then his great-grandchildren went to Liberty. And so the Graham family, my wife and I are close friends with some of them, and it's a great family. And you know, they always thank their mother for raising them, for making them what they became. And she did that so that Reverend Graham could travel the world and spread the gospel to the entire
A really
earth.
unique partnership. I'm just curious, too, any more of your thoughts on what it was that made his ministry so effective? You know, you've done a lot of innovative things at Liberty, and I think for his time, Billy Graham was innovative. But what do you think are the components, the secret sauce, if you will, that made his ministry what it was?
I think, like I said, his communicative skills were #1, but #2, he had a single purpose. He only had one thing on his mind, and only one thing he was trying to accomplish, and that was to preach the gospel to the whole world. Liberty, we've had lots of things that my father and I have focused on, building a university and political activism, other things, but he never, you know, he was friends with every president, Republican and Democrat, but he never took sides. He was not divisive. He focused on only that one thing, because that's what he was. That's where his gift was his communication skills, his ability to communicate the gospel like nobody else. He was an incredible orator, and I think you know, I don't know if there'll ever be another one like him. It's just incredible what he accomplished in his lifetime.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you as well. Do you see another Billy Graham on the horizon?
Well, of course, his son Franklin has done a great job of following in his father's footsteps, and he's about as close as anybody I can think of to being another Billy Graham. My father saw Billy Graham as a mentor, and a lot of the ideas that he got in his early ministry for religious broadcasting came from Reverend Graham, and you know, we are just so proud of the fact that so many of the Graham family are friends and went to Liberty University, and we cherish their friendship, and they're in our prayers in this great time of loss.
When you think about our country today, where we're at, we're so fractured, such divisive times, and we have an increase in the number of young people who say they're not affiliated with any church, don't go to church. What lessons can we learn from Billy Graham's life that you think might be applicable to where we're at today?
Well, you know, I just think our pastors need to get back to preaching the simple gospel of Jesus Christ, and like Billy Graham did, and to make it to make it relevant to people's everyday lives, and to just make it clear that we're all sinners. We're all equally bad. We need the forgiveness and the redemption that comes through faith in Jesus Christ. And I think if we just stick to that simple message, Jesus said, "Love your neighbor as yourself," and He said, "Love God with all your heart, soul, and mind." If we can make it simple so everybody can understand it, and make everybody realize that nobody is too bad to be redeemed and to be saved and to be and to have hope in eternal life, I think just get back to the basics of what Christianity is. And I think it doesn't matter what your politics are. You can be a good Christian and vote liberal, conservative, libertarian, whatever. But the Christian life is how we treat others. We can all disagree on what the role of government should be in helping the poor, but we all universally agree that it's our job individually to help those in need, to help widows, orphans, to help the poor. And we can argue all day about how much the government should do and how much people should be taxed for those reasons. But I think that's it. I think if I'm not a clergyman, I'm not a minister, but I think if ministers would focus on those simple fundamentals, I think it would be good for the whole country.
Well, I know it's a day of sadness, but also a day of rejoicing. Jerry Falwell, Jr., thanks for your time.
You know, I saw on the Crown on Netflix the other day that Queen Elizabeth was so impressed with Billy Graham when he was doing his crusade in England back in the 50s or 60s that she invited him to Buckingham Palace. So it's just incredible what the reach of this preacher from North Carolina has been all around the world in the last 100 years, and I think it's just it's just a testament to his incredible ministry.
Yeah, it really is encouraging to hear about his life. Well, Jerry Falwell Jr., thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.